Psychic, and we are hanging out doing a weekly affirmation for our fans and super fans. So how are you? How's the weather where you're at? It's good here. It was a nice day. It's a little cold out today, but that's okay. If you're on Team Replay, hashtag Team Replay down in the comments. And if you're not a fan already or a super fan, why not? Every week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we go live and we do a weekly affirmation. We hang out a little bit. We get the positive vibes rolling on a Monday, and then we hang out a bit. So it's a lot of fun. So if you're not a fan or a super fan yet, the link is right down here in the description. It's only like, I don't know, $5 or $6 a month, and your contribution goes a very long way here on my channel. Not only do you get that, but you will also get our Wednesday evening class for psychic and mediumship development at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you get two of those live videos just for fans and super fans. So get on it. So we are waiting for people to join. And while we're doing that, I'll tell you, I've had a pretty good week. I stumbled across a podcast that I really thought was cool. I started listening to it. It had to do with remote viewing, which is something I really like doing. I do it here. From there, I found out that the gentleman on the podcast, Skip Atwater, Frederick Skip Atwater is his actual name. He did this book called, this might be backwards for you, but it's called Captain of My Ship, Master of My Soul. And that is a book that I am wholly invested in at the moment. I started reading it today in between errands and getting things together, and I really love it. So if you're watching this either live with me, I see people are starting to join us, or you're watching on Team Replay, this is a book that I'm going to go over when I'm done with it, and I'm going to talk to you about it and why it struck such a nerve with me. But this is a good week. It is starting to become like the beginning of spring here. It's the third day of March, which is really cool. So I know we're getting close to St. Patrick's Day. So we decorated the back, right? We got green coming out our ears. I even by accident wore like a dark green plaid shirt today. So that's fun. What's up there, everybody? I see some of our folks are joining. Terry Swift, Spirit Sponge, Karen, AI Harker's here. Christine, what's up? Mod Jen's in the house. Star Orchid and Shelly are here. What's up, guys? How are you? I hope you're doing lovely. It's Monday. My apologies for missing everything last week. It was a hectic week for me, unfortunately. But that's the way life goes sometimes for people like me who are overcommitted to pretty much everything. I don't remember exactly what I was doing last Monday, but let me think about it. I had work. No, I was off, but I think that I worked the night before and I stayed extra, if I remember right. And it was like a long day. I just couldn't get my stuff together. We are on baby watch. Woo woo! Can't wait, Spirit Sponge. And then Wednesday got skipped because I was exhausted because we had that was the day I had training. Oh my God. Last week was just a nightmare. I even called out of work one of those days. I was so exhausted. I couldn't function anymore. And you know what? That's just life. Sometimes, you need a little break. You need to chill out a little bit and it's okay. But I want to set an intention this week with you guys that is unique. So we're not going to use the cards again this week. We are going to set an intention to pay attention. Okay. So that's going to be our intention for the week. So this intention is really important. Our intention is to pay attention. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the universe and the world around us is constantly giving us signs, whether we know it or not. And it's really important to us as a spiritual being to pay attention to the signs that are kind of breaking through into this physical world from the other side. Remember that even when you cannot perceive those people and those entities and those beings that are beyond us, that they're still there and they're still influencing our lives in specific ways to help us go forward in our missions. Now, I think it's really interesting, a really interesting concept to think about the fact that we say we're born into this world and we die alone, right? We come here, it's just you and your birthday suit, somebody pushes you out, and here you are, little baby football, right? Spirit Sponge is about to go through that with her little grandbaby, her first one. And then on our last day, hopefully you're not naked on the toilet dying. Hopefully you get a respectful, peaceful passing in your sleep or something really nice at the ripe old age of 110 or whatever it is you want to make it to. But you do it alone. It's the two things in your life you're completely alone doing, right? But before that, during it, and after, there are people that are introduced to us. So we talked a little bit about, I made mention of soul contracts in the past, and there are people that we are here on Earth with that we cross paths with, and sometimes in really big, meaningful ways, and sometimes in not so much. But there is an idea that we have signed some sort of soul contract with them. We made a deal with them before we got here, and we were like, look, something's going to happen in my life and it's going to be in your life. We're going to cross paths, and we agree that for better or for worse, this is the path we're taking, and it's how we're going to conduct our business when we get on Earth, right? Um, and I think what's really interesting is, what made me think about this is this book really is not deep in the woo, as you might want to say. It's not woo woo. It's not very metaphysical, although it captures and talks about the metaphysical aspect of our being, which is really interesting. So this really caught my attention because it's written by an Army intelligence officer who was the spearhead of remote viewing in the military. And he says that throughout his life, he was guided by something or someone from the other side. And, I've kind of always felt that way in my life, that I've been compelled, or I've been taken care of, or I've been put in some really great positions. I put in some really not great positions, because what is life if there is not adversity, right? And sometimes in my life, I wasn't paying attention to the signs. The signs weren't bright enough for me. The sign wasn't, stop wasn't written big enough, and I missed it. The light wasn't bright enough for me, right? And in that case, the light got really bright, or the noise got really loud, and it really made me pay attention to things that I was supposed to be listening to the whole time, but I didn't, because I was still caught up in my own ego. I was still caught up in my own self. I was still dealing with being a human being, and especially in the younger years of my life, I was very angsty. I was very angry. I was very outwardly upset at a lot of things, but inside it was it stemmed from there, because this is an internal struggle of, not knowing my place and trying to find a place, and learning about other people, and people in your friend group and people who are not your friends, and things at 43 I'm still learning, but I've learned how to deal with them better. And the signs are so much more obvious when they present themselves. When I meet somebody, the caution sign sometimes blinks really bright in my face, and I say, oh, that is a problem. That's a sign. Now it's up to me as an adult if I'm going to deal with the caution sign and be like, it's okay, I'm going to go forward with this, or if I'm going to take heed and step back from that. So in your lifetime, take a second right now to reflect on this. In your lifetime, has there been a sign that you overlooked because it wasn't glaring enough? Or are there things that were so subtle that you took as a sign, and it altered the way that you lived your life, or the action that you took next? All right. Think about that for a moment, as we're hanging out here. And I will go on with this. So Jen says, signs are so much clearer when your mind is good. That's true. Yeah. Yes, Stephanie says, everybody hit the like button. Yeah, please do hit the like button. It's nice to have you here. All of you right now who are watching live are fans and super fans. Thank you so much for being here with me. It is a sign from all of you watching that I should continue doing these, because this is really great. So with the signs, yes, big lesson I learned from it, says Jen. I should have seen the signs about my ex-husband, right? Maybe, not sure, says Lynn. Sally says, hello, Ghost and Donuts fans. What's up, Sally? How are you? Barb, hello. Kendra Myers, nice to see you there. Welcome in. Thanks for being a fan. So today, folks, we are talking about setting intentions to recognize the signs. Now, whatever that means to you, it's important, because sometimes we see things that we're like, you do the face like, is that a sign from spirit, or am I like looking too far into things? No, the moment that it crosses your path, that like, oh, this is a sign, 110% it's a sign for you to be involved in understanding that is what it is. So many years ago, when I started doing this, when I started doing the mediumship and the psychic stuff, it was very quiet. It was hush hush. I was afraid to step out and tell believe it or not, I was afraid to tell anybody about my experience in life, that I thought that this was what was happening to me. Remember, I didn't go hunt down mediumship. It found me. And from there, I was hesitant to tell people, aside from my close friends and family, that this was my experience. And one day, this video came across my Facebook, I think, and it was, if you guys know who Gary Vee is, he's like this really big entrepreneur kind of guy. And basically, he was just like, F being scared, F caring what other people think. You need to be who you are. And if you feel gross about not being who you are in any capacity, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And you have to say, I don't care about what other people think. And this was a huge sign for me. And I went on to follow that guy, social media fella, for a very long time. I follow him to this day. He gives out lots of great business advice and social media advice, which is part of the reason why I'm sitting here in front of you today. It was a big sign in so many different ways, and it came through so subtly. So much so that the first time I saw this guy, I was like, this guy's a snake oil salesman. I'm not going to listen to this nonsense. And then it just kept coming up, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll listen. And then it really struck home, and it was a good message, right? So what are some other messages in my life? Well, in other signs, because we're talking about setting an intention. We're setting intention to pay attention to the signs, right? So another one was when I was much younger, I knew I wanted to be a police officer. That was my goal in life. I knew that this was a part of who I was, but I had no idea how to get there, because generally you had to join the military, be a veteran, and meaning deploy to war and come back, or have a 4-year college degree. College is out of the question for me. I'm a bad student. I can't sit still. I don't like paying attention to school. This is not for me. But the military was something I could do if I lost 60 pounds. So they were both kind of off the table, because I didn't have the drive in me at the moment to lose all of that weight. I didn't even know what to do about that, because I just had always been big. And then the other one was college, which wasn't going to happen because it just wasn't. I knew it in my heart. I told my parents to spend my college savings, whatever they saved up, and have a good time. To this day, legend has it that my parents are still enjoying my college tuition, going on cruises and vacations. So one day I woke up, and in my brain there was this screaming voice. It was my voice, but it wasn't. Who here can relate to that? It was my voice, but it wasn't. Raise your hand if you understand that statement. So it was my voice, but it wasn't. And it was a very loud voice with me. And it said basically like this: get up, call the Marine Corps recruiter, and tell them you're ready. And I'm not kidding you. I ignored that voice for 3 days straight. For 3 days, I was like, no. I was like, this ain't for me. It's not for me. I don't know. And then it got to the point on the third night, I could not go to sleep. I couldn't barely close my eyes. It was just in my brain. It was taking up all of the space where that imagination happens. And it was probably the first time in a very long time that my clairvoyance was so strong, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't understand that. All I knew is that there was this driving force inside of me, and I could not ignore it. So I got up the next morning. I remember like it was yesterday. I got up, I drove myself to the town over where the Marine Corps recruiting station is. I knocked on the door and I said, hey, actually, just in case any Marines are watching this, I knocked on the hatch, or I slapped the handprint on the hatch, because that's what you do in the Marines. And I spoke with the recruiter, and basically he was like, look, you are about 60 pounds overweight for us to even think about talking to you. So if you can come back here 60 pounds lighter, we'll talk. And I said, okay, bet, I will be back. And within about 3 months or so from that day, I didn't have the internet to look to. All I had were weird guys at the gym and the Marines. So the Marines were like, listen, this is your diet if you want to lose this weight. You're going to eat, I'll never forget it because I ate it for 3 months straight. I ate Special K for breakfast, chicken breast for lunch, and then chicken breast with hot sauce for dinner. That was my diet for 3 months straight. Then I went to the gym, and all the guys there were like, if you want to lose a ton of weight, sauna, and all of the cardio you can possibly do without dying. And that's what I did for 3 months straight, no joke. And also worked and all the other stuff, right? And the drive was so strong, and it got me there. And I joined the military, and I went on forward, and it changed and altered the course of my life. Of course, after that, when I got back from my second deployment, I was more than eligible to take the New Jersey State Civil Service exam and possibly become a police officer. And guess what? That's where my life led, and it's been pretty awesome since then. So that was one of those big signs, and it was. I know that it was in here because even through my life, the man who adopted me, my dad, would always say to me, he'd be like, the military life is probably the one for you. But looking at me from the outside, I would never think that because I was more liberal. I was really into music and the arts and all the things that the military isn't, right? But a part of me was a part of that resonated somewhere, and it worked. So when we talk about the signs that can change our life, sometimes they're very subtle. Sometimes they're a thought in our head this is my favorite one, the thought in your head that's like, hey, make a left instead of a right to go to work today, and you avoid the insane traffic that you would have hit if you went left, or the nail in the tire and things like that, right? Those are the little signs. And then the bigger signs are the ones that are sometimes we're being guided by other forces bigger than us, and they are just pounding away at us, and it actually wears us to fight against it. So I'd say that there was no there is free will, but I think there are markers in our life that we set up for ourselves before we come here. And if we're going to hit those mile markers, we need cheerleaders, people on the other side that are going to help us and push us forward. And I think that is definitely a part of that. So if you have ever had a sign in your life, let me know. And if you've been trying to pay attention to signs but are kind of ignoring them because you're like, that's not right, that's not the sign, well, this is the sign for you to start paying attention. So what's up, everybody? Nice to see you there. Star Orchid says, I was at work and I just wanted to go home early. All signs are telling me to stay just a little longer. I ignored all of them and found out the next morning some of my coworkers won $1 million lottery. Oh my gosh, that's one that you could be sad, but it wasn't. Fate didn't have you there, right? Just like when people ask me about, well, if you're so psychic, this is my favorite from Scott. If you're so psychic, why don't you just get all the lottery numbers and win? It's not a part of my destiny. It's not a part of my fate. It's not a part of what's going to fulfill my life. Would a mass amount of money make me happy? Yeah, probably for like a couple days. And then I'd be like, well, I'm bored. What's next? Of course, I'd have money to travel and go do things, but that need to create, that need to be here and accomplish something on this earth would be completely missed. So money is irrelevant as long as you have enough money to stay fed and keep a roof over your head. Everything else is irrelevant. Stuff is stuff, and it's nice to have some stuff, but it's not really the point of being here. So it's really important. Let's see what this says. Since I opened myself back up about 1.5 years ago, I notice the signs all the time. There are no coincidences. Exactly. Francis says, the biggest sign I had was given to me the day not to kill myself. Oh, I'm glad you didn't, Francis. I turned on my phone. I had a phone call at 4:15, and my sister was calling me and telling me my sister. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, so those are some of the signs. Something told you, like, no, this isn't the right way to go, right? I'm glad that somebody said that to you, because in my opinion, it is not the right thing to do. So again, this is with the signs. And this book, really, I love a good book. If you want a good, I don't have it in front of me, but if you want a good book, do I? No. If you want a good book from the perspective of somebody who identifies as a medium and a psychic to teach you what you're doing, it's a lot of the same of how I talk, but Kim Russo's a really good way to get involved with that in a good book. It's easy to read. She doesn't use big words and doesn't make you feel stupid because you're trying to learn. Okay. Now, if you want a book, and this is where my sign thing came from this week. My for the signs for our boy, I was on a roll there and then my brain stopped working. For this week, what we want to do is pay attention to those signs, right? That's our affirmation. There's the word. Man, my brain was not working there. So the affirmation, I'm going to pay attention to the signs. So for years, I've heard this man's name. I've heard it a lot. Frederick H. Atwater, aka Skip Atwater. I've heard his name a million times. I've had a lot of conversations about remote viewing and psychic work and stuff like that, and his name's come up a lot. But I never paid attention to it for one reason or another. The sign was there, but I wasn't paying attention. It wasn't big enough. And then a couple days ago, across my YouTube algorithm, came a podcast, and Skip was a guest on it. And I stopped and I said, okay, I know this guy. Let's see what he has to say. And about 10 minutes into him talking, I was like, holy cow, why did I not pay attention to this sooner? Because this man is saying so many things that I personally identify with in my life. It's crazy. That was just in the podcast. Then I immediately ordered the book, and now it's here, and I've been reading it. And I have to say that this was put in my path in a pretty glaring way recently for a lot of good reasons. It's because for me to teach you guys when we do our Wednesday night stuff, I have to have a greater perspective of what it is that I'm doing. And the only way to have a better, bigger, broader perspective of what I'm doing in a certain area is to have several kinds of teachers, right? Now, I've never been mentored by anybody. Nobody's ever been like, this is the way you do it, and this is the way I think you should do it. It's kind of just been me feeling around in the dark and finding information as I go, which has been a really great way to learn for me. So Kim Russo is obviously, if you've never seen her, she's a television celebrity. She's from over here in New York, and she is a medium, and she's really wonderful. She did Celebrity, no, My A Haunting of is the name of the show that she primarily is on. It's kind of an older show, but it was on for a pretty long time, couple seasons. And when I'd watch her, I'd say, she's doing what I do. I understand what she's doing. So I liked watching her and identifying with her. Then that's talking to dead people and that sort of thing. And then Skip Atwater, who wrote this book, Captain of My Ship and Master of My Soul, is a military intelligence officer with the Army. And he pretty much, if you ever saw or heard of the movie Men in Stare Goats, this is the guy. Now, they kind of, in my opinion, made everybody in that program in that movie look like an idiot, but it's simply not the case. They were very intelligent human beings, many of them with PhDs, and are very, very intelligent people who were very, very interested in the actual real idea of the paranormal, but not from the standpoint of a ghost hunter, but from a standpoint of science and how they could use it. One, to weaponize against enemies of the state, and also how they could learn how to mitigate other people from other countries psychically spying on us, which is a really interesting thing. Doesn't that sound sort of woo woo? Doesn't it seem like something that you might be really interested in if you just look at it from a different perspective from the mediumship? So when even today, as if you'd all like, I'll put the podcast into the Discord for you that I've been listening to. It's really good. It's a little dry. I'm not gonna lie, but the guy's like 75, 80 years old or so he's a little bit slower, but he's very excellent at explaining what he's talking about. One of the things that I was just listening to, I'm still working my way through the podcast, is again a sign, something that says, Scott, you're not the first person to do this. As a matter of fact, your aptitude for this may be really excellent, even among some of the best people who have ever been tested. And by that is this. For a very long time with my own abilities, aside from talking to your loved ones and your pets who have passed and seeing them and understanding them and all of those things, listening to the signs or seeing the signs and understanding them and working with them, I've also been able to do something I call like a psychic time walk. And I didn't really have a good way to put it, but I do now. So a psychic time walk to me is basically if I was sitting here in this house and I close my eyes and I just let the world around me dissipate, I can feel around in the dark sort of and be like, okay, what was here before this house? Okay, it's nothing. It's a hill. Okay, what was here before that? No, it's a bunch of trees. Okay. And as I smell the trees, I can smell a lot of burning and fire. And I can hear whispers, I can hear people walking, and I can see hunting. And I know that this was a pretty active spot for the indigenous people before. Okay. Now, what all of you have been waiting for, and I got to say, we're getting close, from the Ohio video, is basically a lot of psychic time walking, which was really cool. But what I learned today in this podcast, from this gentleman who wrote this book, is that he had a friend who they were doing remote viewing. I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but it's a part of the sign thing. Hey, Crystal Con, thank you so much for becoming a super fan for a month. Hey, that was really low. Hold on. And I'll tell you about the cool thing. Why is that so low? Ah, nuts. I don't know how to fix it. I'll fix it later. Thank you very much, Crystal. So with the idea of the psychic time walking, so this gentleman, Skip, is talking about his friend who was in the CIA funded program for this remote viewing thing, which, just real quick, if you don't know what remote viewing is and how it works into the psychic time walk thing, remote viewing is basically when I can sit here and close my eyes and tap into a location anywhere in the world and hopefully describe what it is that is there, right? So if one of you are outside the pyramids, hopefully you would, if you were sitting out there and you were like, guess where I am, and I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, I'd be like, well, maybe I'd say things like, it was really hot, there's big open skies, pointed tips of something, and I feel like I am really hot, so maybe that's a part of it, right? And then maybe I'd hit the nail on the head and be like, I don't know, there's a bunch of like temples or something, right? So like, but anyways, so that's just sort of what remote viewing it is. And it could be anything. You could be standing in a grocery store and I'd be like, I don't know, I feel like there's like cereal boxes or vegetables, and I'm looking around and I feel like I'm in a big open area with like aisles or something, and you'd be like, ah, right, I'm at the grocery store. So anyways, so what this gentleman did, that was on the CIA team, was he was given a target without knowing what it was. So basically the way this works, real easy. You, the person helping me, walks out or goes out somewhere to a random area and you say nothing to me, right? And back here at my house, I have another person who's like, okay, we got a call, they're in the place they said that they wanted to go. Now your job is to write and describe anything or draw anything that you see, feel, or hear right here on this paper. And there's a bunch of parameters for it. And basically he wrote down all this stuff, and one thing that really hit was, he said there was a big tower and two pools of water. Now what was really cool was the guy was like, I think it's a sewer plant or something, right? And this is the guy doing the remote viewing at home base. And the other guy comes back after a while and they're like, well, where'd you go? And he was like, I went to a public pool. And they're like, well, you got the water right. The water was there. And they were like, was there a tower? And he was like, no, there's no towers there. So he was like, well, you didn't get it right. Then come to find out, 50 years before, what they found out was, this gentleman he thought he got it completely wrong except for the water, right? So they're like, well, you didn't get it right. You can't get them all right. So what happens is, many years later, a book is published by the town that the guy who went out into the world to the public swimming area, a book came out about the town. And inside the book was a photograph of what was the public pool. What was the public pool 50 years prior to being the public pool? A sewer plant. And there were two big pools of water and a tower in the background of the photograph. So not only did he remote view in time, or in space out to that spot, but he also remote viewed 50 years in the past or so. So that is really cool. And it's something that I do pretty often when I go to a location, but I'm not only looking for the physical things, the structures, or the natural structure of things, but I'm also looking for the people there, which is really cool, right? So who would put a pool on a sewer plant? Yeah, I know it's gross, but hey, listen, weird things happen all the time. So when I'm telling you to pay attention to the signs, and one of the biggest lessons and this isn't a lesson class, is our intention portion of the week, but it's important for you to know because they tie in together. When you are learning about your abilities, when you're learning about yourself, even if you don't think you're a medium or psychic or have any of these abilities, you're a human being, you're connected. You and I are connected. and we're connected to all of the good people, and we're connected to all the bad people. We're connected to everybody. We're all one thing. We all belong to the same thing. That's for sure. And we connect to each other really well. Now, do we all see eye to eye on human relations? Not usually, and that's okay. It's how we grow and learn. But you and I are all connected together, which is really important, because by saying that, I'm telling you that if I can do this, then you can do this. And if you don't want to do this like I do it, but you still want to feel like you are living in a world that you are tuned into those things around you, I want you to set your intention this week, which is what this video is about. Set your intention to pay attention to the signs, okay? That is your intention for the week. That is your affirmation for the week. I am going to pay attention to the signs presented to me, okay? I'm going to pay attention to the signs that are presented to me, okay? That's really important for you to do, okay? Yep, that's right, Cookie. She says, like drops of water in the ocean, we all make one big ocean. Yep, exactly. I just bought the book. Stephanie, let me tell you something. You are going to enjoy this. This is a good book. It's really awesome. I'm still trying to imagine an apple, but I'm blocked. I will set my intention. So set your intention to see the apple. And remember, seeing isn't always believing. Sometimes it's the smell. Sometimes it's the sound. Because there's nothing in the world that sounds and tastes like an apple, right? When you bite into it, it's got the nice crunch. You can taste the juice. You can smell the flavor come up, right? You can, all the aromas that come into biting it. If you, next time you bite into an apple, take your time. Notice the small things, because when a spirit wants to come through and be like, we owned an apple orchard, they're going to make you smell the apple, and they might make you smell like you're surrounded by apples, and you'll be like, apple trees, apple orchard, and you're going to be right. Okay. What would you call it if you can do that with a photograph? Like you can look at a picture and location, see what was going on there in the past. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Dawn. It's like it's remote viewing through time. With a photograph, it's a little bit easier because you have something already visually locked on, but don't let that take away from your ability, because basically that's the jumping point. It's where I started. It's how I started. And it's good. It's a good starting point. So if you can look, so for instance, I once was doing a reading at somebody's house, and there was a drawing of like this really cool house, like in their dining room. It was this really nice picture. It was a really nice drawing. And I was like, that's a really cool house. And the guy was like, oh, thanks. It's my family house from growing up. And I was like, I looked at it for a second, and this, mind you, this is a drawing of a home. And I was like, this bottom right window over here, I was like, there's a big fire in that room. And the guy was like, how did you know that? And I said, well, I'm looking at it and I can see fire kind of coming out of the window. And meanwhile, it's just a drawing of a home. It's not even a painting. It's black and white, like pencil drawing. It was really cool. And the guy was like, yeah, he's like, I never told anybody until I got a lot older, but he was like, I was playing with matches and I dropped one and it set the curtains on fire and almost burned the house down. It took out the whole room and back further into the house. So that was a bit of that remote viewing. I just tapped into the energy of it. I didn't, because even though it wasn't a real photograph, it was just a drawing of it, the energy was still there and it brought me to it. So that just shows you what the ability is. It can show you how to do this stuff, okay? So there are things we can do. If you would all like to practice, I mean, this isn't a practicing. We're going to set our intention, which is what we're doing, setting our intention to pay attention to the signs, right? That's our affirmation for this week. But for a little bit of fun, if you'd like, I'll take a picture of some place that I know the history of, and you all can do a little psychic time walk. And remember, you just don't be scared of it. It's nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to worry about it, and I'll give an explanation after a couple days in the Discord, so you can see what it was. All right. So our weekly affirmation is pretty awesome. I'm going to pay attention and set my intention to watch for the signs. I'm going to pay attention to the signs. I'm going to listen to the signs. I'm going to feel the signs. And the sign could be one from inside of you. It could just simply be your inner voice being like, don't forget bread, right? When you're at the store, it doesn't have to be a life-changing sign. It can just be something that is everyday life, which is more because we all, let's be very honest with each other, we all live a very ordinary life most of the time. That's why we can relate very well with each other. I've had some really cool experiences in my life, but for the most part, I wake up, put my shoes on, brush my teeth, get a cup of coffee, help get the kids off to school, hang out, read, create some videos, watch some videos maybe, pick the kids up. It's a very boring kind of life, very mundane. It is what it is. But then there are those big moments that bring us into the cool stuff. So don't forget your pants. Pants are for amateurs. You need to worry about that. I'm late. What did I miss, Cheryl? And then Stephanie says, "We saved the world, Cheryl. Top flight security of the world, Cheryl." We've been talking. You're gonna have to watch the replay, Cheryl. We were just talking about setting our intention for the week, and our intention is that we're going to pay attention to the signs from the universe. That's our intention or our affirmation for the week. This week, I'm going to pay attention to the signs from the universe, whether the signs are large or small or come from me internally. I'm going to listen and pay attention to the signs. That's your affirmation for the week, okay? And then we talked a little bit about remote viewing, which is really cool, and why the affirmation this week is what it is. Because sometimes even Scotty isn't paying attention to the signs, and the universe kind of has to pummel me a little bit for me to pay attention and get the idea that I should be doing something. So that's where we're at. You're welcome. So there we go. That's our intentions for the week. So who's going to be back here at 9 p.m. with me? I'm going to do some free spirit-led mediumship readings for everybody. Who's going to be here for that? Raise your hand if you're going to be here for free spirit-led mediumship readings. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to help you. I want everybody to learn. That's why there's no gatekeeping here. We want everybody to be happy and have fun and have a great time. Yep, excellent. Fantastic. And I'm hoping by midweek by the way, so far I've seen 2 episodes of the Ohio video, and I've seen the trailer for the Ohio video. They are working out some of the graphics for the name of the show. I have the name of the show. I love it. I am partial because I do believe I'm the one who came up with it. But it's a really cool title, and it really goes over it. So if you've been waiting for that, I'm sorry it's taken us a little while. There's a lot of things that are working right now for us and a little bit of against us, but mostly for us in a really positive way. So all good things come to those who wait. So yeah. Is it YouTube only? Yes, it will be. As a matter of fact, it's interesting you asked that. It will not be YouTube only. It will roll out. So I'll give you this real quick. It will roll out on YouTube, and it will roll out on Facebook. However, for any of you folks who are fans and super fans, we have decided that there is going to be basically, we want to make more content, and we want to be able to do it faster this time and go somewhere, because we have another story lined up that is not in Ohio, it's somewhere else. And we want to bring another celebrity investigator with us possibly. And we want to make sure that we're able to cover some costs for doing that, because this first one has been completely out of pocket, for free, pro bono, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to do this thing. I think that we've agreed on it's going to be about $40, but for $40, what you get? You get all 3 of the Ohio videos with unedited, so like no commercial breaks. It'll be the full, basically about an hour and 10 minutes or so, hour and 15 minutes of video straight through. You'll get that. You'll get a exclusive Q&A with Dalen and myself, and you will get a physical item, which we haven't implemented yet, but it'll be something cool that you'll get to keep. And then on top of that, if we hit so many backers by so often, whatever it is, we'll also give you access, exclusive live access, live to the next investigation. So again, it's just something we're working on because we really want to be able to move forward and do the next one. When do I pay? I knew you would say that. So again, it's all stuff that we're working on this week, and so no matter what, you all can watch the video for free. So don't freak out. It's going to be for free. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Facebook. For people who want to help back the next project and also get something extra from myself and Dalen, and from the team, there's going to be that it's a one-time $40 fee, and you'll get a physical object. So you guys know I love handing out pins and stuff. It may be something more upscale, having to do with the investigation I'm talking over with the team right now. Then on top of that, you'll get a Q&A with myself and Dalen via Zoom or something like that, depending on how many backers we get. Just like the uninterrupted version of the show, which is going to be really cool. So can you let us know in Discord more? Yes, as soon, and this is really cool, and this is really important for anybody who's helped back anything before. This is all in the up and up. It's done by it's being handled by by our production company, Elevate Studios, who is used to doing this sort of thing. So when we're ready, I'm going to have a website for you. I'll put it out. It'll spell out exactly what you get, and how you get it and how you receive it. It'll basically be out of my hands, so you don't have to worry about things getting shipped out or any of that stuff or me missing things. It's all going to be handled by a professional company, not me or Dalen. People who've been doing this for a while, and it's going to be seamless. It's going to be really awesome. And from there, we have a bajillion ideas on how to bring more amazing content to you guys and bring you into our investigations from your home. Because I think that in the world of the internet, there's a lot more to be had than what we have now, right? Anyways, that's all I'm going to reveal at the moment. So I'm going to put the curtain back down. The curtain's down. And that's all I'm going to say about that, okay? Anyways, I'm going to go take a break. I have work tonight at 10:30, but I'm going to be back here in this seat at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in about an hour and 15 minutes, I'll be right back here with you, and we are going to do some free spirit-led mediumship readings, okay? So bring your hat and be ready for a good time. Sorry, Francis had a question. Hey, as to all the signs, what about a name that doesn't stop popping up? I don't know. If it's a full name, Google it and find out what it is. If it's a part of a name, pay attention to people who are coming in and out of your life, even if it's through social media or other kinds of media. Pay attention to the name, because there might be some really important thing that is coming right at you, okay? They're putting it out in front of you, all right? In any case, that is my jam for now. Thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with me. Thanks for being fans and super fans. Don't forget to set your alarms for 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Mondays and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays when we do our class, okay? All right, everybody, I will talk to you very soon, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, fans, super fans, if you can do me a favor, encourage other people during the lives, the big lives, to become fans, super fans. It helps keep the laser lights on at Scotty's house, all right? Okay, everybody, peace and peppermint. See you in an hour and 15 or so. Bye. Thanks for being here. I love you. Bye.